What's that for?
Just a little encouragement.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for soap operas that have sadly been lost like sand through the hourglass.
You'll always have a lifetime membership in my heart, but for now I've got to go my own way.
Number 10, Dark Shadows. Given the reputation of Dark Shadows for gothic horror, it's easy to forget that the show was a legit soap opera with multiple intertwining plot threads. For many, however, Dark Shadows was basically the Barnabas Collins show.
You wanted to make me like you are.
Only so that we could share eternal happiness?
No.
And you will, you know.
Each week offered a descent into the imaginative worlds of the occult and supernatural. This is just one of the reasons why the soap is still so fondly remembered today.
The door has a tendency to stick.
Now, how could you know that if you've never been here until this visit?
I haven't actually, but I know every inch of it.
Its legacy was such that it received spin-off film adaptations and even a modern reimagining from director Tim Burton. Soap operas have never shied away from exploring fantasy elements in their storylines, but there will only ever be one Dark Shadows.
Eternal health? Eternal life?
To the Collins family.
Well, that's rather a long time, but I'll drink to it.
Number 9, The Edge of Night.
You know, I know some things about your side of the street that you don't even know. Things about your boss.
What things?
Where he is, who he's with, what he's doing and why. You interested?
Go on.
We move from the world of horror soaps to another outlier from the daytime television world, crime procedurals. The Edge of Night was a very popular soap opera that deviated from the usual pulpy romance in favor of a more grounded and realistic exploration of dramatic city living. There were love stories and triangles, of course, but the main character of Mike Carr is primarily focused on fighting crime and injustice wherever he finds it, first as a police officer, then as an attorney.
As a matter of fact, I happen to know that he's having a cozy little dinner with the McGraths, mother and daughter, right now.
So?
You're not interested?
Not too.
It's no wonder that The Edge of Night was actually first pitched as a daytime version of the popular Perry Mason character, as there was definitely a similar vibe.
Yes, but I enjoyed every mad, delirious moment of it.
Number 8, Santa Barbara.
When we go to the party, no one will ever see us.
Well, that doesn't make sense.
Just trust me.
Ted,
Come on.
No, Ted, I can't really.
Our next soap is definitely more traditional in scope, but that doesn't mean that Santa Barbara didn't have its own rabid cult fan base. The show featured a Who Shot JR plotline similar to Dallas, only here utilized as Santa Barbara's central framing device, around which nearly every character revolved.
I'm gonna find the killer. You know that, don't you? Look, I'm gonna find the guy that should have been in here instead of me.
A lot of actors came and went throughout the Santa Barbara cast, and the soap was never really popular with critics. What it did possess was the interest and loyalty of its fans, who kept Santa Barbara on the air for nearly a decade. All good things must end, however, with production, writing, and cast issues resulting in Santa Barbara signing off for good in 1993.
I've robbed you of so much.
No, Joe, you haven't. You gave me something I had no claim to, and you made it mine.
Number 7, Ryan's Hope.
Mary, Ryan, the light of my life, where you been?
I've got a surprise, Dom.
Soap fans are used to watching the fabulous lives of the wealthy and beautiful spill out against the backdrop of even more gorgeous scenery and sets. Ryan's Hope was yet another distinguished soap that tried to do something different with this formula.
Yeah, I'm trying to understand what it was all about.
You wouldn't like to take a 15-minute break, huh?
No.
By placing their characters in New York City, Ryan's Hope felt much more grounded and realistic, a sentiment that was echoed in the more approachable storylines. Oh, sure, there are wealthy families in the show, but the titular Ryan family are hardworking, old-school folk, and the show enjoyed exploring how societal mores and attitudes were changing around their blue-collar lifestyle. And Ryan's Hope was all the better for it.
Frank does everything for the community, you do everything for Frank. Where's the catch?
Oh, maybe I think it'll be a good learning experience. Catch.
Number 6, Guiding Light. In the world of soap operas, there's longevity, and then there's guiding light longevity.
What are you doing this evening? You have some free time, don't you?
A little.
The show started life in radio all the way back in 1937, before eventually going on to become one of, if not the most famous soap operas of its day. This was thanks in part to one very famous head writer in the form of Agnes Nixon, an absolute industry legend.
I think they knew they had confidence by now with as much work as I had done that I wasn't going to, embarrass them with some.
Nixon's creative fingerprints were all over hit soaps like One Life to Live and Loving, while her work on Guiding Light impressively juggled numerous characters with multiple motivations and storylines. It was this connection to people that assisted Guiding Light in retaining its loyal fan base for so many decades.
I love you, Joshua. And if you still want to be together, then I'm in.
That's a good thing.
Number 5. Passions. There's no doubt about it. Passions was certifiably crazy pants, but that's why we loved it.
The girl of the new millennium, that's Charity, must never find love. If she does, it will mean disaster for the forces of darkness. That's us.
This comparatively modern-day soap was notable for a number of reasons, not the least of which was its further normalization of same-sex relationships for a daytime audience. Beyond this, however, Passions also knew what it was, and how to have fun with so many weird and wacky storylines.
Oh, Ethan, did you really mean that?
As God is my witness.
I know that's your line, but I've always wanted to say it.
The soap delighted in parodying famous films like Gone with the Wind and The Wizard of Oz, while at the same time speaking directly to its audience in a fictional manner. An even stranger aspect of the soap was its reputation for brutal violence, making Passions sort of an anti-soap opera that reveled in being completely its own unique thing.
Kill them all. Kill them. Miguel, move! Timmy fell, Miguel, move! He's alive!
Oh, I knew it was too good to be true.
Number 4. Another World.
Well, what's this glue you're gonna try, huh? I'm not gonna try it.
Lose your nerve?
No.
One interesting aspect of daytime television is how it can reflect cultural sentiment and present itself parallel to a shifting society. Another World was a great example of this, as it broached the subject of abortion nearly a decade prior to the landmark decision of Roe v. Wade. Elsewhere, Another World asked existential and anthropological questions about culture, class, and wealth, often in a manner that was more sophisticated than other soaps of the time.
Instead of going out with a doctor, you went out with a misfit of
Yes,
the
I did, and I had a fun time. Is there anything wrong with that?
Another World had a great run for over 30 years, but was eventually canceled in 1999. Coincidentally, its replacement on the NBC daytime schedule was actually our previous entry, Passions.
I'm going to look for a summer job. I could use your help right here.
Number 3. As the World Turns. When examining lists of the longest-running dramatic television programs, soap operas always make the cut. They're just conducive to long-form storytelling, with enough loose plot threads to keep their audiences hanging on year after year.
You really want me to leave, don't you?
No, darling, I don't. But that's not important. It's what you want.
As the World Turns was one of these epic and old-school soaps, an absolute juggernaut that boasted legions of fans. The soap was the brainchild of Erna Phillips, another titan of the industry who made As the World Turns more than just a mere potboiler.
She wanted to show people what they were like, and she wanted them to like what she showed them. So she tried to show it in all its various forms, the good, the bad, and the indifferent, because she felt that this was what was interesting about people.
Her storylines were rich and multifaceted, taking their sweet time in developing every character to their fullest extent. This was just one of the reasons why As the World Turns enjoyed a 50-plus year run on the air.
I didn't realize how hard it would be to say goodbye.
Well, darling, I don't think there should be goodbyes. Just good night.
Number 2. One Life to Live.
Once upon a time, there was a woman named Victoria Lord Riley, Burke, Riley, Buchanan, Carpenter, Davidson, Banks.
Okay, we admit it, soap operas are not for everyone. Specifically, the genre can occasionally be seen as too exclusive and not diverse enough when it comes to representation for different socioeconomic backgrounds. One Life to Live arrived in 1968 during a time of great culture shock and reflected these changing times by presenting a much more realistic view of the world.
Yeah, I know, but what's always somebody knows with the mind is not always accepted by the heart.
Sadie, what am I gonna do?
The 4 central families of One Life to Live are set up in a Philly suburb and all come from different backgrounds. This allowed the soap to tell a variety of stories while keeping things fresh and current for a daytime audience. Think of it as the soap opera that soap opera fans needed at the time they needed it.
For some, there is still a long way before the happily ever after. For others, it's right around the corner.
Before we name our number 1 pick, here are some honorable mentions. Port Charles. Vampires, werewolves, and Kelly Monaco. Oh my.
No! No!
Loving. Ended with a serial killer angle?
You tricked me. You shouldn't have done that stuff. That was wrong.
The City. A sequel to Loving with all the surviving characters.
Where does he get this stuff? It's best not to ask too many questions.
Sunset Beach. A 90s soap that struggled to find its young demographic.
That's funny, we got disconnected. Guess it's the static.
Stay in Kansas, Dorothy. I never meant for you to come to Sunset Beach. Don't try to contact me in person or over the net.
Generations. The first soap opera that focused on an African-American family from the start.
You've lived in hiding too long. You don't need to do that anymore.
Where's all this coming from?
Martin's jealousy is horrendous.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. All My Children. For our number 1 pick, we simply have 2 words for you. Erica Kane. Actually, we have 2 more words for you. Susan Lucci.
Family leader trying to keep all of you together. Corporate titan. Inspirational icon.
The actress is synonymous with the soap opera, to the point where she's become known worldwide for her work on All My Children, even by those who would never even bat an eye at a similar show. This was not only a testament to La Lucci's delicious villainy on the show, but for Agnes Nixon's enduring creation as a soap opera for everyone, not just the cliche stereotype of the bored housewife.
With endless thanks for savoring and sharing our real world of make-believe.
As a matter of fact, All My Children boasted plenty of men watching a soap opera, perhaps for the first and only time. Gotta love that, Lucci.
Now you've done it. You'll never get it back. Just watch me.
What's your favorite forgotten soap? Let us know in the comments.
The most important thing is to keep her focused on the prize.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.